It's canon. That's what Batman was doing during Teen Titans. That's why Batman's not in Teen Titans. That's why Robin's not with Batman during Teen Titans. Because Batman was in the loop of Fortnite. It's canon. Oh, this looks cute. I just gotta say off of just looking at his, like, screen picture. I know this is Jonesy. And yep, that ends what I know. I was like, this is Jonesy. And yeah, I don't know who he is, who she or he is. Looks like a he. Her. Yeah, I'm not really blocking this person. All right. I just know Jonesy. Okay. The foundation, like what you put on your skin, gotta use a fork though.
Fortnite's storyline is 6 years in the making, and in that time we followed a journey that ties every single event, season, and character together. While key moments come and go, there is one thing that has always remained constant. It has stood the test of time as wars have been fought above it, supervillains have tried to steal it, and it is destabilized way too often. From the first appearance in the Butterfly event to now being the key of Chapter 5, this is the entire Fortnite storyline explained. So many things have changed since our first video, but not where this story started. All of this began millions of years ago when there was a Big Bang. It formed every single universe in an instant, and at the center of it all was Reality Zero. It's here where the Big Bang left behind a huge mass of energy, and instead of spreading it out, the energy compressed itself into an orb we call the 0 point. This is tethered to every single reality in existence, connecting the
I already feel lost. Wait, back it up.
All of this began millions of years ago when
in the beginning there was nothing, then in a burst of pure creation the 0 point sprang into being. Here we call that the Big Bang. That is how our universe came to exist. Okay.
Formed every single universe in an instant, and at the center of it all was Reality Zero. It's here where the Big Bang left behind a huge mass of energy. As a result, it needed to protect itself from anyone who tried to wield this power, and this is where the island is created. On the surface, it appears as a powerful storm with a fake sky, appearing as a huge bubble in space and time. Anyone who tried to visit this island would either be wiped out by the storm's defenses or manipulated by the 0 point's strange effects, until one man came along. Against all of the odds, he captured control of the orb and began to wield its power. We know him as Geno. He's a scientist who is obsessed with perfection and also leader of a
Geno, okay, random scientist, okay, I've never seen him in my life.
Evil kingdom known as the Oathbound. During his time ruling as a champion, Geno started to experiment with future technologies. We're not sure how he discovered the 0 point, but once it was located, he instantly realized its full potential. His long-term vision was to create the leader of a medieval kingdom known as the Oathbound.
The Oathbound. I wonder if he'll ever come back.
During his time ruling as a champion, Geno started to experiment with future technologies. We're not sure how he discovered the 0 point, but once it was located, he instantly realized its full potential. His long-term vision was to create the perfect society, and his time with the Oathbound was just phase 1 of his true destiny. With the orb, he knew that if he could see how every reality was made and what was
cool. Who is this guy? Geno? I'm learning with you. I'm learning with you. Geno, they said is his name?
different about each one, he could use that information to truly create perfection. So one day he left behind his homeworld, but Geno wanted the kingdom to not lose their leader. In his place, he left behind a clone of himself known as a snapshot. There's still more research to be done into how snapshots truly work, but we do know they're created when someone leaves the loop. Originally, the loop worked very differently, but once Geno got his hands on it, he began to sculpt it for his own evil intentions. So along with the mysterious inner circle, Geno set out to create a new organization known as the Imagined Order. Their headquarters are built around the 0 point, with this location being codenamed the Bridge. With the newfound power, the IO were able to control the effects of the storm, alter people's memories, even unlock immortality. Now to recruit people for their perfect society, the IO created the Loop. It's a program that forces people to fight each other, but to make it a fair battle, it removes your memory, ability to speak, and every 22 minutes, you fight all over again.
Okay, so the game is supposed to be that we're loopers, we're looped in a game that forces us to fight each other for about 22 minutes. That's actually hilarious. I get it. I'm with it. I read comics. Okay, I could accept that.
Sounds like a great way to judge people, but no one would ever agree to this.
Oh, they're saying so we can't talk. Everyone else can talk but us. I guess that's true, we don't talk.
So, they started kidnapping subjects from countless realities. It was working perfectly. As more fighters proved themselves, Geno offered them immortality in return for joining the Imagined Order. Not only that, their whole family could live on the island.
Where are these comics from? Fortnite has comic books? When my kids turned old, I told the Imagined Order I want to go back, that I want to die with my grandchildren who I barely knew. But at this point, I have become indispensable. Dr. Sloan reminded me that my family would lose their protection if I quit my job, and my world was always a dangerous place. Are there Fortnite comic books? When did Epic do this? This I think is at the very beginning. I don't know when the comic book happened, but I guess this was at the very, very start of Fortnite, is my assumption.
And experience the same benefits. It's why we see towns and houses on the map. Not everyone is as lucky though. In fact, some IO guards don't even know they had a previous life. Their memories got wiped as they're forced to know only one thing: how to protect the Order. Thousands of years later, the organization had grown massively and mostly went under the radar until they kidnapped the wrong people. Those who were way too intelligent for the loop and managed to escape it without consequences. This unlikely group of vigilantes are from all corners of the universe, and despite being very different, they have one goal: destroying the Imagined Order and liberating the Zero Point. We know them as the Seven.
That reality created an island protected by a storm that has people who go on it and just respawn every 22 minutes and have to battle each other. They kidnapped random people to have to come to the island. I guess that explains like the random cameos and stuff on there. We cook it. That explains the random cameos. It's because Jonesy or whatever is kidnapping people and putting them on the island. And then there's the Seven. And okay, all right. Okay. Random, but you know what? Comic books are random. So that's an interesting explanation for why we're on the island battling. I don't know. I mean, this was a comic. Some of this, I'm trying to pause.
We're able to control the effects of the storm, alter people's memories.
Like this part. This is obviously a comic. So it makes me wonder if Fortnite has a comic book. Or like if they had like live events that showed comics or something.
Even unlock immortality.
Like this is a comic. This is a comic. Does Fortnite have comic books? Fortnite has comic books. Fortnite has comic books. Well. The Fortnite X Marvel Zero War comic books, published by Marvel, includes additional stories and possibilities not found in the in-game experience. Okay, so this dude needed to read the comics to give me some of this information. I see a few local stores in my area come up saying that they have it. Well, I'll be damned. No, I don't think Marvel wrote this. I think it's just a collaboration with Marvel. But I don't think they wrote it. It's just a Marvel collaboration. Because Marvel already has comics, and Fortnite is just a game. So I'm guessing that they collaborated with them to then make the comics, if that makes sense. I actually didn't know that. Bro, we're all gonna learn today. What is this? So Fortnite is in the Marvel universe? Yes. Should have done a better comic. I mean, maybe. I have never seen this comic. All I can say is that blows my mind. I cannot believe I've never heard this in my life. Bro, I might have to go through some Fortnite comics. Because I'm not gonna lie. Some of these look like bangers. Bro, so that's... Well, you're learning stuff. That's kind of, well, I'm glad that you're still learning stuff because that makes this like useful for everybody to watch. But like, come on. No offense, these comics are probably for max level Fortnite kids. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Marvel comics or comic books in general can get pretty dark. And even in this screenshot talking about Jonesy's family like dies, like he doesn't even know his family or his grandkids because he's stuck on this island battling us. Because I never thought about Jonesy being immortal and having a family who like keeps living and dying and he doesn't get to know them He did, like, that's actually so dark. That's so Marvel. That's so Marvel. All right, let's continue.
Brutality. Now, to recruit people for the perfect society, the IO created the NOOB. It's a program that forces people to fight each other, but to make it a fair battle, it removes your memory, ability to speak, and every 22 minutes, you fight all over again. It sounds like a great way to judge people, but no one would ever agree to this. So, they started kidnapping subjects from countless.
And that's great. Literally, Jonesy is kidnapping people. You're telling me that every time we have Korra and different people on the island, he's just going into Avatar and kidnapping people? Kidnapping people? He's rifting them into the game.
Realities. It was working perfectly. As more fighters proved themselves, Geno offered them immortality in return for joining the Imagined Order. Not only that, their whole family could live on the island and experience the same benefits. It's why we see towns and houses on the map.
There's towns and houses on the map because people's families get to live on there, but only the people who join are immortal. That's also crazy. That's why we have towns and houses, because there's actually people living there. That's crazy.
Not everyone is as lucky, though. In fact, some IO guards don't even know they had a previous life. Their memories got wiped as they're forced to know only one thing: how to protect the Order. Thousands of years later, the organization had grown massively and mostly went under the radar until they kidnapped the wrong people. Those who were way too intelligent for the loop and managed to escape it without consequences. This unlikely group of vigilantes are from all corners of the universe, and despite being very different, they have one goal: destroying the Imagined Order and liberating the 0 Point. We know them as the Seven.
Okay, and that's all before Chapter 1. And that's all before Chapter 1. That's...
On March 20th, 2018, people living on the island look up to the sky. Something is approaching. They rush to grab a telescope, getting a closer look at the object shooting towards them. It's a meteor. Panic ensues as they try to predict where it'll hit, with some villagers thinking it's aliens or an extraterrestrial visitor, and if only they knew how right they were. In April, TVs around the island begin to show an emergency broadcast to prepare for the collision. As the meteor gets closer and closer, they brace for impact.
See, at least all of this is in-game. All of this is in-game.
A huge crater is left in the ground as the Imagined Order rushes to investigate. They build a facility at the crash site, disguising themselves as the government. Well, unfortunately for them, they weren't fast enough. A mysterious character breaks out of the meteor and escapes the facility, and this is our first introduction to the Visitor. He's on a mission to test the capabilities of their airtight suits, which we learn later on protects them from the effects of the loop. It's a success, as he steals a rocket from a film set and converts it to rift back home. This was supposed to be a harmless mission. Instead, it began the Fortnite storyline as we know it, a simple rift that would ultimately invite pure evil to the island and kickstart 6 years of bloodshed and war. So before the Visitor's rift can close, a dark energy emerges. It's a cube? While this may look relatively harmless, it has the power to destroy the island in a single blow. It's bright purple, flowing with corruption, which spreads to anyone who touches it. And so this cube begins to roll around the island, leaving behind runes while searching for its target, the 0 Point. Eventually, the search leads it to Loot Lake, where the cube begins to destabilize. The 0 Point is barely able to defend itself, and within months, it's already facing a new threat. A huge shard of ice crashes into the island, bringing a harsh winter with it and a mysterious castle of unknown origin. It belongs to a power-hungry Ice King who we learn has plenty of prisoners. One of them is trapped in blocks of ice, and as the fragment crashes into the island, he's able to break free. With the chains gone, he's revealed to be the Fire King, a rival who is equally as powerful. Both of them want to take the island for themselves. As opposite elements, they can't survive the climate of this place. So, the Ice King covers the island in snow, cooling the temperature to his liking. His arch-nemesis responds, stealing dragon eggs from the dungeon and using them to create a small army of hybrids. It's enough for him to fight back and create a huge volcano that'll destroy Polar Peak. But before his plan comes to fruition, the Ice King defeats him in a war, with the prisoner frozen in the ocean.
See? This is another comic book. There's Spider-Man again. So there's a lot of Spider-Man crossover with Jonesy. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. And also, like, that's so unfair that you have to read the comics to get some in-between story.
To his liking. His arch nemesis responds, stealing dragon eggs from the dungeon and
trying to
using them to
pause it.
create a small army of hybrids. It's enough for him to fight back and create a huge volcano that'll destroy Polar Pete. But before his plan comes to fruition, the Ice King defeats him in a war with the prisoner.
For the good of the Omniverse, you will abide with me as a part of my collection. Congratulations. This is a great honor. My condolences for you, also your end farewell. I'm sorry, can we run that back, that last part? Spider-Man's so funny. Oh no, oh, I got it. I definitely gotta read these comics. Definitely gotta read these comics. Why isn't like the Hulk or Iron Man, Captain America? I don't know. Maybe they just thought Spider-Man made more sense. I mean, there's other superheroes behind them. I can't tell who, but I don't know. They wanted Spider-Man. I don't know. Spider-Man just made more sense, I guess. We need a Hercules character in Fortnite. Like, Hercules, like, from Disney Hercules? I definitely gotta read these comics. Baby Hercules is wild. Imagine a baby being in this game. They can't put babies in this game. That'd be crazy. Greek god, super strength. I mean, Hercules would make sense. Not what Phoenix is talking about.
Frozen in the ocean for good. Well, fortunately for him, the volcano still erupts, sending fireballs hurling at the island's biggest cities, and of course, the castle. It breaches the iceberg, unleashing a monster that was secretly kept in the deepest dungeon. Yeah, it immediately breaks free, and the Imagined Order don't really care. They're perfectly fine with the monster damaging the island, as long as it doesn't touch the 0 point. The solution is to create a doomsday weapon that'll wipe out everyone on the surface, including the monster. Well, that's when a prisoner of their own speaks up. The Paradigm, a member of the Seven, explains that they can't just let everyone die, so she offers a better solution, to pilot a giant robot and kill the monster herself. They reluctantly move forward with the plan, constructing the mech in the hollowed out volcano. It is time for the final showdown.
I hope this was an event, because I want to see this. That looks stupid crazy. That's the same Cuddle Team Bear outfit that Eminem was wearing in the Eminem concert with Snoop Dogg. Probably, right? Wow.
And in the ultimate live event, Paradigm slays the monster with a sword. The rotting corpse is left on the island. She knows that if she sticks around, the IO will recapture her, so she begins her escape, flying directly upwards into space. Her new mission, investigate where the monster came from. When they learn about this, the Seven are furious. They think she betrayed them by working with the IO, and after her escape, it's radio silence. Pretty quick, they learn that a robot was crashed into a nearby planet called the Ice Moon.
Another comic. I need to read these comics. Like, every time he shows me a comic, I'm like, oh, okay. So, like, a chunk of the story and lore is all comic book.
The temperature is simply way too cold for a human to survive, so...
But it's kind of cool that that Eminem was in this skin thing, because that means people who've already seen this must have felt like that Eminem part of the concert was extra cool. Because it was a reference to this, which I never understood. How much gum do you have? Gum? This? Popcorn? You thought I was popping gum? That'd actually be funny. Now I'm done with the bag. A little bit like gum. Here, now it's easier to see.
Oh, she must have never made it. And that brings us back to the island, where the Imagined Order has bigger problems than their prisoner escaping. Before the monster was killed by Paradigm, it broke into the 0 Point's vault. Grabbing the orb, she used it to stun the Devourer, but this left the 0 Point exposed, and it was destabilizing fast. As it begins to implode, the Imagined Order has no hope of saving it, but luckily someone else does. The Seven are sworn protectors of the 0 Point. Time itself is breaking down, bringing the meteor and other locations from the past to the island. Out of the new meteor emerges our latest member, the scientist who is already preparing a plan to save reality. He builds these rift beacons around the island, using their power to gather resources and prepare the other members of the Seven for their plan. Together they'll use rifts to unpause time and jumpstart the 0 point into stabilizing. But for that to work, they need the meteor.
Watching all the builds be destroyed is kind of funny. That must have been quite the event. I have been trying to catch up. Did you know Fortnite had comic books? I don't know how people are aware of the lore, considering you got to do more than play the game. You literally do. You literally do. You have to read comic books. You have to read Spider-Man comic books to find out the lore of Fortnite. That's wild. I'm definitely going to have to look them up and read them, though. Because that's literally wild. That's literally wild. I don't know what to say. Thank you for your sentence points. I didn't know they had comics, so. They said if you want the story, you need to read. Like, that blows my mind. That blows my mind. I can't believe there's Spider-Man comics with Fortnite. I love Spider-Man comics, so I'm definitely gonna have to look those up and find them. Fortnite really does have a story going on. Fortnite really does have a story. Look at that Batman signal. Oh, that's wild. That is a wild event. Oh, that's cool. And that's how they go into chapter 2? That's cool.
The island has now been reshaped by the 0 point, split into 2 pieces of land.
Oh, that's a cool shot. Oh God, that's a cool shot. The reflection and then him stepping over it. Oh, that's metal. That's so cool.
Point, split into 2 pieces of land that sandwich the orb for extra protection. The Imagined Order needs to reestablish control over the island, and fast. They send agents to survey the area, but quickly they come face to face with their snapshots. But only one problem, these snapshots are different. They're altered by an evil mad scientist known as Chaos Agent. The scientist belongs to a secret—
Hey, Chaos Agent, I've heard of him before.
crime syndicate Shadow, founded by Midas, a powerful and greedy leader. His true power is in the form of the Golden Touch, a curse that was placed on him after he tried to steal the treasures of an ancient king. Despite this, Midas' organization—
This is who I'm talking about. See, like this version of Midas, he's okay. This version of Midas is okay.
Organization is taken from underneath him as Chaos Agent rises to grab power. With his vast wealth, Midas makes a new organization, Ghost, and its purposes are very different. Instead of committing crime, Ghost becomes a secret agency that spies on the mysterious activities around the island. Quickly, Midas learns about the loop in the Imagined—
Oh wait, so what's the Snoop Dogg like house thing, like basically just a Midas reskin? Because that looked exactly the same.
Tried to steal the treasures of an ancient king. Despite this, Midas' organization is taken from underneath him as Chaos Agent rises to grab power. With his vast wealth, Midas makes a new organization, Ghost, and its purposes are very different. Instead of committing crime, Ghost becomes a secret—
That looks exactly like the Snoop house thing. Exactly like it. Except for it just like the walkway was like longer, but that looks exactly like it. So I feel like the Snoop thing was just kind of a reskin a little bit.
agency that spies on the mysterious activities around the island. Quickly, Midas learns about the Loop and the Imagined Order, and he is blown away by their evil plans. This causes him to recruit his daughter Jules, who's been a master engineer her entire life. To distract the IO from his plans,
I really like the Jules skin too. Okay, so Midas is like a hero. Cool.
Wages war against Shadow to cover up his true intentions, building a device that'll destroy the Loop for good. He believes the key to doing this is the Storm. It's how the Imagined Order enforced the Loop by bringing it in every 22 minutes to kill whoever's left standing. So by pushing it back, you'll free everyone trapped by its wrath. What he doesn't know is that the Imagined Order is already keeping tabs on him. John Jones is a field agent who has dedicated his life to the Order. Under their oath, he has done covert work on the island hundreds of times, leaving a snapshot every single time he re-enters the Loop. But before Jones can figure out Midas's plan, it is sprung into...
I still don't kind of understand the snapshot thing. Or they... Oh wait, it's like they said every time you leave it, where you leave the Loop, and then it just creates a version of you that stays? Still kind of confused about that one. Because I know they said something like when you leave, it makes a snapshot, but he never explained exactly what a snapshot is. Other than I can see that it's like versions of him, but like, why would it be like a different version? Why would it be like an army thing and a thing that looks evil and... I don't even know what's bouncing on the pogo stick. And does it leave this on the island? Or it just makes one of these in general? Like, do they just let these other Jonesies run free? And that's also an interesting way to explain different skins. Like, so every Jonesy, every Peely, every time we have a different version of them is because Jonesy or Peely left the Loop and came back, and that's why we have another skin. Okay, so a snapshot is like a clone. Like, I suppose so, but then, like, I guess, like, why is the clone different? Like, why wouldn't it just be exactly Jonesy 7 times? Why would it be, like, Old Man Jonesy, Astronaut Jonesy, Army Jonesy? Like, why would it alter? Like, I mean, I'm a little bit overthinking it, but, like, I'm also just like, but why would it change? Because I'm like, okay, you leave it, like, and then, like, how does it clone? It just clones you. It's basically, it sounds like you cannot leave the Loop. Like, you kind of can and you kind of can't. Because if it clones you every time you leave, a part of you or a version of you never leaves. A version of you is always stuck in the Loop. And you can just kind of leave it, but you have to clone yourself. So a part of you is like never leaves. Based on what's happening. I mean, I guess I could kind of get that. I mean, if he's like an army guy and then he snapshots that way. But there's always got to be a base Jonesy then. Maybe they come from different realities. I mean, that's true. That could be the case as well. That's interesting, because that would just mean every time we get a new skin is because that skin just left the Loop of the island and then finally got, and then came back and then left and then came back and then left. That's kind of crazy when you think about like the Peely skins, like the one that's like half a skeleton or a frozen banana. And stuff like that. Like, was he frozen, then he left and unfroze? Or when he left, it just created a frozen version of him? We know which one is the real one? Well, honestly, you know what? I don't know which one is the real one. Because I'm like, which one is the real Jonesy? This one clapping, or is it the Jonesy that's in a suit? Because I kind of feel like the Jonesy that's in a suit is the real one, because that's the one that's in the regular world. And then all these other Jonesies are snapshots, every single one of these. Because it begs the question, like, the one in the suit. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, that's what I would agree with that one. Like, the one in the suit would have to be the real one. And then all of these are snapshots. And then that means if we have an OG Fortnite character who doesn't have different versions of themselves. That means they've never once left the island, I guess. But Jonesy keeps leaving and coming back, leaving, coming, and he's kidnapping people. Jonesy's evil. Jonesy's low-key evil. He's leaving and coming back and kidnapping people. That's crazy.
Every single time he re-enters the loop. But before Jones can figure out Midas's plan, it is sprung into action as the device event.
The device event. That looks crazy. That looks crazy. Oh, I'm definitely gonna have to watch events. See, even the mechanic of that device coming out of the, I don't know, castle is just like when Snoop Dogg's mic rose from the castle. They hella reskinned some things. He's not evil, but not good either. He's us. Sus. What he is sus. You said he's us. You needed to add an S on there. He's sus.
Midas's plan works until things get weird. He didn't account for the fact that the storm isn't just lightning. It's alive and controlled by the 0 point.
Must be connected to the loop, but there's no way we could have predicted that it would react this way.
That looks so cool.
In a defensive reaction, the storm protects itself by creating a giant wall of water. Midas has failed, and over time the wall collapses, flooding the island and wiping out Ghost and Shadow's territory.
Oh, it just
isn't long before Agent Jones has to face yet another threat to the IO's reign. Turns out that when the 0 point created this reshaped island, it released an enormous amount of energy. In a case of extreme unluckiness, it got the attention of a being from another universe, one that we are very familiar with. It is here that crossovers enter the storyline, because this threat from outer space is none other than Galactus, Devourer of Worlds.
So Fortnite's been working with Disney.
Is desperate to consume the planet that contains it. Of course, it's the Fortnite Island, and because Galactus is from the Marvel Universe, it also brings a whole cast of characters to protect us. If he's able to devour the 0 point, it would destroy reality as we know it. This kickstarts a plan from Tony Stark to build rift beacons around the map and bring his lab to the island. Every day, the island's residents see this being get closer, and just before he arrives, the plan is revealed. Tony spent all this time building custom battle buses and fitting them with explosives, cannons, and lasers, and now the day has come.
That's actually so cool to see it like slowly get closer and closer.
We're able to fight him off, and ultimately, he maybe got a little too much power before he rifted him away for good, and this causes major problems. With Galactus exposing the 0 point, it has once again started to destabilize. We know this time period as the Zero Crisis, and this time the 7 aren't here to save it. So right now the Imagined Order is panicking, but for a different reason. They don't care if reality breaks down, they just want to make sure nobody jumps into the 0 point and escapes the loop. So they send Agent Jones on a task.
See that cutscene.
He travels through 88 different realities, jump after jump, to recruit the galaxy's best bounty hunters so they can hunt down those trying to leave. After spending months on this task, he returns only to find that the 0 point is worse than he left it. He begs his boss, Dr. Sloan, to do something, but she won't listen.
What's the point of recording these logs if you're not gonna listen? We've lost control of the 0 point. Do you get what that means? You must not, because you're doing nothing. I've dedicated my life to the Order. I've given everything. And for what? To just sit back and watch reality end? That's not who we are. At least it's not who I am. Not anymore.
Time is running out and Jones refuses to submit. Instead, he takes matters into his own hands, defecting from the IO for good. And that's when he breaks into the bridge searching for a secret file.
This is Agent Jones requesting access to restricted file 8752. Oh, really? No time to stabilize reality, but plenty of time to revoke my credentials. This is Agent Jones requesting access to all materials related to the 7. Oh, great! If you're not gonna give me what I need, I'm just gonna have to take it.
So he does, and with his newfound knowledge, he hops on a battle bus and heads straight for the island, where the 0 point is on the brink of imploding. He rushes through all of the hunters he spent months recruiting and gets there just in time.
You don't remember this much? Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's wild.
It actually worked.
That's wild. These cutscenes. I hope this was in the game.
Look, I know you have no reason to trust me, but... Oh, no. Hang on. Let's talk! Let's talk!
Oh. Oh. Oh.
Geno! I can get you to Geno.
And the sisters?
I can get you all of them. But I need your help to
Where does
fix-
Hope come into this?
Finally, we are introduced to the Foundation, the leader of the Seven who has been rivals with Geno for centuries. Now that Jones has offered to give him Geno, he's actually willing to help protect the 0 point. As it starts to break down, the orb blooms like a flower. Jones has studied
that's so
it his
pretty.
entire life, but this
That's
is
so
the
pretty.
first time he's seen it react like this. Now, there's no time to admire it though. It's destabilized and is already way too far gone to save.
That's so
The only option now
pretty.
is to contain the blast. The Foundation seals himself in a tower of stone, and in the ultimate sacrifice, tells Jones to overload his portal gun, leaving them both trapped in the loop.
These are crazy events.
The Spire encases the 0 point, with reality waves sending the island into a wild and feral state. It's overtaken by a primal biome as the IO scrambles to maintain control. They bring in the Spire Guardians, who are here to defend the 0 point secrets from ancient hunters
that's
such
a
as
cool,
Raz. He claims that the Spire has been calling to him in his dreams, and he traveled here on a mission to learn its mysteries. While tracking down the island's artifacts, he discovers an unseen reality log left behind by Agent Jones. Raz immediately begins searching for the Spire's mysterious crystals, which in turn lead him to the ultimate artifact. Before we can stop Raz, one of Jonesy's snapshots gives us a chilling warning. There are people who think the Spire will make them powerful. It will, but it will also exploit their every weakness. Do not allow the Spire to corrupt someone powerful, or Jones does not stand a chance. Go now before the Spire attracts any more attention from the... Never mind, just hurry. Well, it's already a little too late, because Raz has found a crucial artifact that is way too
Raz is a
dangerous to
cool
wield on
looking
his own.
skin.
This shard is all too familiar. It's a piece of the cube that almost destroyed the island with the corruption still intact. Upon wielding it, Raz succumbs to the darkness, becoming aggressive and evil. Now, we're able to take it away from him in time, but the damage has already been done. Now, before we get discovered just how important this key moment was, a comic reveals an extraordinary amount of secrets hidden underneath the island. As a DC crossover, it revolves around Batman, who has been trapped in the loop after investigating a rift in Gotham City. As the world's greatest detective, he is able to prepare an escape plan. With the help from Catwoman, he escapes the loop by standing in the center of the storm in the final seconds. Now, free to roam the island out of the loop, he comes across a group of inhabitants. They form an alliance and decide to get out of Reality Zero for good. Only problem is, they can't just swim away, they would disintegrate. And now that they've escaped the loop, there are no second chances. Death is permanent. There's only one way to get home, and it's the same way they got here, through the 0 point. The group is able to unlock one of the metal bunkers on the island and head underground in search of an escape. The room is extremely ancient, protected by massive golems and swarms of IO guards. It's a tough battle, and in the chaos, Fishstick is killed by an unknown figure. It becomes apparent one of the group is working for the Imagined Order. The others, still in shock, decide to carry on. The further they progress, the closer they get to the 0 point. Eternal Voyager, in his desperation to escape, sprints into the orb and immediately gets split into a million pieces. The 0 point cycles through countless realities per second, which killed him instantly. He got his wish, he'll be voyaging for eternity. After hours of discussion, the group figures out how to calibrate the orb. Renegade Raider goes home first, before one of the members reveals a dark secret. Deathstroke has been working with the Imagined Order all along. He was the one who killed Fishstick. So they break out into a fight before tying up Deathstroke, and most of the others escape to the 0 point as the Gotham City crew are left standing. Once the 0 point has finally been calibrated to their homeworld, Deathstroke flees to Gotham City as Batman and Catwoman go after him. Once they're home, the memories come flooding back. They may have worked together in the loop, but in their previous lives, they were rivals. More importantly, both of these events have worked together to allow the next phase of the story to progress. Heading all the way back to Raz, his use of the Dark Shard has gotten the wrong kind of attention. This is what Jonesy's snapshot warned us about. So as we look to the sky, UFOs begin to abduct loopers, crop circles appear, and a conspiracy theorist named Mari starts broadcasting about it. She warns the people of the island that aliens are coming. And
I didn't realize like how much of this had Marvel Comics and comics stuff. Like, I thought the Disney collab stuff was new. And I'm just like, dang. I didn't realize they had like so much collab with that from the beginning. Fortnite is in the Marvel and DC universe.
0 Point cycles through countless realities per second, which killed him instantly. He got his wish, he'll be voyaging for eternity. After hours of discussion, the group figures out
Like, this is so wild. I couldn't imagine, like... So that means the fishy skin is only a snapshot, because the original one died. Like, imagine reading some Batman comics. One page, the Joker's doing something. The next page, Batman's hanging out with some of the characters from Fortnite. That's kind of crazy.
out how to calibrate the orb. Renegade Raider goes home.
Bro, my mind is blown. This is different. I can feel it's been so long, but I'm finally going home. What the heck?
First, before one of the members reveals a dark
What, did she make it? She made it. We did.
secret. Deathstroke has been working with the Imagined Order
Of course Deathstroke's been working with Imaginary. It's Deathstroke. You don't need us anymore, or I should say your masters don't.
all along. He was the one who killed Fishstick.
That's... Bro, I need to read these comics.
Dark secret. Deathstroke has been working with the Imagined Order all along. He was the one who killed...
Who did this? Didn't see. Relax. I've got first aid supplies. Oh my god. He ain't gonna make it. Oh, poor Fishstick.
Fishstick. So they break out into a fight before tying up Deathstroke.
That's how, my god, how could I have forgotten it? We've only gotten one functional panel. It requires precise directions to keep the portal open in the right place. Someone has to man the device, which means that person gets left behind. Unless it's me, the cat, and Deathstroke. Because we're all from the same world.
And most of the others escaped.
Oh wow, I can smell the ozone. Gonna raise a cup of ions to you, Fishstick. Together the three of us should supply just enough.
The 0 Point as the Gotham City crew are
Just us left. I've turned the staff into full power. Cat, let's get Deathstroke in the position, add his omniversal energy to ours. Or hear me out here.
left standing. Once the 0 Point has finally been calibrated to their homeworld, Deathstroke flees to Gotham City as Batman and Catwoman go after him. Once they're home, the memories come flooding back. They may have worked together in the loop, but in their previous lives, they were rivals. More importantly, both of these events have worked together to allow the next phase of the story to progress. Heading all the way back to Raz, his use of the Dark Shard has gotten the wrong kind of attention.
Imagine watching an episode of a Batman show and Batman just being like, Catwoman, why must you be evil? Don't you remember when we worked together on the island in the loop? We found a way during Fortnite to be on each other's side. Why can't we find a way now? This is new Batman lore. I'd never find out. You know what? This when Robin was on Teen Titans. Hold on. When Robin, yikes! You have 10 requests on Rocket League popular. When Robin was on Teen Titans and people are like, "Where is Batman?" Here is the answer. What? That's where Batman went. He went to Fortnite. And he was stuck in the loop doing some Fortnite stuff. And Robin was like, well, I guess I have to save the world. I have to get the Teen Titans together and be the leader because Batman just is MIA. I don't know where he went. I don't know what the hell he's doing. I'll tell you what he was doing, Robin. He was stuck in the 0 Point loop of Fortnite during the whole show of Teen Titans. It's canon.
This is what Jonesy's snapshot warned us about. So as we look to the sky, UFOs begin to abduct loopers, crop circles appear, and a conspiracy theorist named Mari starts broadcasting about it. She warns the people of the island that aliens are coming, and this is far too dangerous for the IO. More importantly, Dr. Sloan, Agent Jones' boss, is dedicated to shutting down this broadcast, but the invasion has already begun.
That's crazy. It's bigger than the island. That would make me so scared out of my mind to see a spaceship bigger than my entire, like,
Sloan has no choice but to fight against them in the name of keeping control and maintaining order. The mothership sends a huge army down onto the island known as the Chimera. Their goal, annihilate everyone while the ship above abducts major locations.
Alien
Moves around,
season, I
taking Slurpy
guess.
Swamp, Coral Castle, and has its eyes on Holly Hedges. The Chimera also scan Looper's minds.
Wait, Slurpy Swamp. Wait, maybe I'm being slow to catch on to this, but I guess the remix season was just fusing different things from previous seasons. I feel like silly saying it out loud now, but I was like, oh, all those things already existed. Okay, you know what? That's what happens when you're new.
The mothership sends a huge army down onto the island known as the Chimera. Their goal, annihilate everyone while the ship above abducts major locations. Moves around, taking
Because Rapper season had Slurpy Swamp. Yeah, like the remix season, they had Slurpy Swamp. It looked almost exactly like this. So I'm just like, oh, okay. So the Rapper remix season was literally, it was the Midas, like, castle area, Slurpy Swamp. So all these areas had already happened. So these weren't any new spots. These were just old spots that got remixed into this one. Okay. Yeah, I was up last night finishing up my challenges. I love procrastination. No, you don't. Oh my god.
Slurpy Swamp, Coral Castle, and has its eyes on Holly Hedges.
Okay, never saw Coral Castle. But Holly Hedges, that was in the Rapper season. Dang, did I go back too far? I just want you to yeah, Coral Castle. That looks cool. I've seen things similar to it. Like the little coral guys. That's adorable. Okay, this I've never seen. This I've never seen at all. But they decided to put like Holly Hedges and Slurpy Swamp in the Rapper season.
And has its eyes on Holly Hedges. The Chimera also scanned Looper's minds in an attempt to locate the 0 point, but Sloan has an epiphany. She's figured out that the Imagined Order has a mole who is secretly divulging information to the enemy. It's a perfect situation that can be manipulated as she feeds Maven false information. Of course, this gets into the hands of the Chimera, who learn that the IO secret base of operations is at Corny Crops. And yes, this is true, but what they don't know is that Sloan has filled the complex with a huge bomb. So right on cue, they move to Corny and abduct the POIs. Satisfied that they have cornered the Imagined Order. Only this is part of a secret plan known as Operation Skyfire, and
that
Sloan
looks
recruits
fire
Loopers,
too.
aka us, to sneak on board and make sure everything goes smoothly. We break out of prison, making our way through the mothership, which at this point is full of guards and obstacles. Eventually, though, we make our way to the final room, an abduction chamber with Corny Complex and all of the bombs attached to it, primed and ready to go. Satisfied that Operation Skyfire is a near success, Sloan arms the bombs. Well, there's only one problem.
That's
the aliens have a
wild.
last trick up their sleeve.
We thought it was gone for good.
The cube.
Last time it nearly destroyed the island.
We're able to shut it down, but with 2 minutes left until detonation, Sloan delivers the bad news.
You played your part. Now
Oh,
I have
everyone
to
has
play
that on their
mine.
back.
We are fighting a war in which we are hopelessly outgunned.
Okay.
I won't bring you home.
What?
Not if there is a chance that thing can make it back to the island.
What?
Over and out.
The Loopers are panicking, desperate for a way out. We approach the dying cube and collectively use our power to remove its corruption and restore its purity. Now glowing blue, it's on our side until the ground begins to rise. We've been standing on an elevator this entire time, and it was taking us higher and higher into the mothership. Turns out there's one final reveal, a plot twist that would send waves through the Imagined Order's ranks and change our perspective on the story forever. The Chimera didn't bring the cube from Chapter 1. In fact, they're not even the Chimera. That was just an enslaved army. The true evil is in this room. It is here we meet the last reality.
The last reality? A bunch of cubes? Not the sad face on the backpacks.
We may have taken down their mothership, but Sloane's plan backfired. Now all of these cubes have crashed onto the island, and one of them has become the most powerful villain to date. Sure, these are corrupted by a dark evil, but that power is controlled by a sinister character known as the Cube Queen. Exiting
The Cube Queen. I still can't believe that that pickle skin looks so goofy. They always have one, like, I feel like meme skin in the past.
summons her army of caretakers and cube monsters to fight off the IO forces. Now you gotta understand, the last reality are very different to our villains of the past. Every threat we face has wanted to take control of the 0 point for themselves, aside from Galactus. But this motive is extremely worrying. The Cube Queen and her minions want to use a 0 point to destroy everything that has ever lived. Because it's tethered to all realities, they can eliminate life as we know it in an instant, making them truly the last reality. The Queen's plan has already come to fruition, but she needs the full power of her fleet back home in order to make it work. She sends her army of cubes to the center of the island, directly above the 0 point where they create a pyramid known as the Convergence. Sloane was fooled by the last reality during Operation Skyfire, but knowing what she's up against, it is finally time to put together a real plan, except she doesn't. Instead, the Imagined Order are more distracted by their newfound prisoner, Agent Jones. After being stuck in the loop, he was arrested for treason, but little do they know, someone else has been discovered too. The Foundation, dropped at the bottom of the ocean, wakes up. Months have passed since he was ejected from the 0 point, and he has no idea where he is. Leaving the ocean, he stumbles across Gotham City, the last place that the 0 point was calibrated to. In this strange world, the Foundation is immediately approached by Batman, who assumes he's a threat. After fighting, they talk it out, where the Foundation reveals that he is
Batman. This man, he does so much. He does so much.
sworn enemies with the Imagined Order and has nothing to do with the loop. They want to take down the IO and liberate the 0 point just like Batman does. He explains that the Seven have always had an advantage over the IO because they have the ability to create sideways rifts. This is a way to traverse different realities without the 0 point. This technology was experimented with in Chapter 1 through the rocket launch. The only problem is it takes a long time for the rift to close, making it extremely risky. On the other hand, the IO doesn't know how to do this. They need to use pure portals, basically the ones opened by their guns. So learning all of this, Batman agrees to help the Foundation return home. Once back, he realizes that he needs to find Agent Jones immediately. A lot has changed since being thrown from the Spire, but before then, he must update the other members of the Seven and figure out a plan to stop the last reality. Sloane and the Imagined Order have never cared about the fate of the island. As long as they maintain control of the orb, everyone dying, it's perfectly okay. It's happened time and time again, like the Zero Crisis or the Final Showdown, but the Seven, as usual, have to swoop in and save the day.
The last reality is
What?
Wake him up. You just had to be the hero, Jones. You know what happens to heroes?
They, live to fight another day?
Not this time. Do it.
No, don't do it, don't.
This isn't personal, Jones. Although I do plan to enjoy it. Would someone see what that is? Impossible. I watched you die.
I got over it.
The Rock. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. That's so random. I watched you die. I got over it. Oh my god. Can they afford for him to be voicing things in this game? Okay, that almost, okay, that I watched you die. I got over it. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. Bro, this game makes billions of profit. They can afford The Rock. The Rock is expensive.
Let's see what that is.
I just gotta see this again.
Impossible. I watched you die.
I got over it.
I got over it is crazy.
You promised me Jeno.
Well, love you too, buddy.
Everyone follow me to the bridge. We'll be safe there.
You hear how that's not The Rock's voice?
Don't worry, guys. I'll move the bus by myself. It's right up here, and I will give you a water break soon. Heads up! I know another way. Guys! Careful, edges are hot.
Rotation at 30 degrees.
That's the last one. We did it.
Where's my gun?
That's The Rock.
Why does she make me keep saving you?
Well, what about that?
Get ready to swim.
What the heck?
The island has flipped, and the Imagined Order have been caught by total surprise, but so were the Seven. Their plan to take back control of the island has been stopped short by the caretaker breaching the wall, and because of this, their hiding spot for the past 4 years has been revealed. This whole time, they were living on the other side of the island at a place named Sanctuary, where they could keep their friends close, but enemies closer.
They were living on the bottom of the island, like under the water? They were living on the bottom of the island? What? What? Okay. You know what? Okay. Okay. Flat Earth on the other side of it. Well, this is an island. It's not flat Earth. Or you mean like the bottom half of the island's flat? I missed the season of Grapple Glove was cool. What season was that? Bro, the bottom of the island? They were secretly living on the bottom of the island. Okay, I'm just go back about what?
The island has flipped, and the Imagined Order.
Well, I mean, I could see it's like a flat island. But I'm just saying, like, it was in the water. There was water. How were they breathing the water? Like, it flipped the water. Were they in bubbles? Invisible dome underwater? It had to be. And then what happens to everybody else on the other side of the island? Are they just drowning now?
The island has flipped. The Imagine...
Like, I'm trying to pause on the island has flipped part.
The island has...
Like, are you suggesting there's no water? And what's inside of the island? Crazy. You gotta keep going to find out. All right. Okay. I'm just blown away by hiding under the island. I would have never found them either.
Has flipped. The Imagine Order have been caught by total surprise, but so were the Seven. Their plan to take back control of the island has been stopped short by the caretaker breaching the wall, and because of this, their hiding spot for the past 4 years has been revealed. This whole time, they were living on the other side of the island at a place named Sanctuary, where they could keep their friends close, but enemies closer. Now, this peaceful retreat has been exposed to the Imagined Order, who are furious and already planning their counterattack. The Seven and IO have been at each other's throats, but never took full-scale action against each other until now, where the tension has reached boiling point, and thus the Zero War begins. As the Seven recruit as many loopers as possible, the IO already has them outgunned. Other members of the team join the fight, such as the Origin, who is drafting up battle plans to push back against the army. He has one of the most interesting backstories in the Seven. Once known as the Cube King, he ultimately realized that their dark energy could only be used for evil, so he escaped, leaving his identity behind for a new life. He was captured by the Imagined Order shortly afterwards, who tortured him for answers, but one day, the Seven broke in and rescued him. He walked out of that prison with a new name, the Origin, and has been their field tactician ever since. But he's not the only member with an intriguing life. The Order and the Imagined are the sisters that Foundation asked Jones to find. We don't know how they were reunited, but both of them are available to help in the war against their father, Geno. The Imagined has been spending her entire life trying to take revenge on her father. As children, he genetically modified them to be perfect warriors with immortality and super strength. Reality was their playground, but one day,
don't we love
things
fathers
changed
who
in an
genetically
instant.
mutate
One of
their
the members of
daughters?
his inner circle offered him a bed. Could the sisters become the first ever to escape the loop, and how long would it take? Geno was confident, but his obsession with perfection was also their downfall. The sisters did end up escaping the loop, but not fast enough, and when they returned home, the loop had created snapshots. Only these versions were more brutal, and Geno had a realization. He replaced his own daughters with more powerful snapshots, forcing the sisters to turn their backs on him and join the Seven under new names. However, despite being twins, they have very different motives. The Order wants to help destroy the loop and give people their freedom, while the Imagine simply wants revenge. Despite all of this manpower, there's only one person left who could help win the fight, and she crashed onto the Ice Moon years ago. Yes, the scientist is adamant that reaching Paradigm will turn the tide in their favor. As far as the others are concerned, Paradigm is dead and a traitor, yet the scientist always held out hope. He's in love with her and is desperate to see her again. After breaking through to her, turns out she's alive but trapped inside the mech. To convince the others, scientist tells him that he was talking with the AI in her suit instead. At that same time, Sloane is busy on her counterattack. With the loopers rally behind the Seven, she realizes they're losing the battle and decides on a more destructive plan. Instead of wasting resources by fighting on land, she calls up her Doomsday department and begins working on a device known as the Collider. Yeah, the same one that was going to be used during the final showdown before Paradigm talked them out of it. If it destroys the Seven for good, Sloane will stop at nothing to achieve that goal. The Order hears about these plans and tells the others. The rescue mission is a go, not for Paradigm, but for her mech, which will be essential to destroying the Collider and winning the Zero War. Before they could do that, they need a powerful energy in order to power the mech, called the Zero Shard. In a secret mission, the Seven sneak into the bridge with the help of Agent Jones, who explores the wreckage.
Now I understand why people who make Fortnite lore videos will just always have a leg up on understanding the story and stuff. Because I could never. The middle is in the water and the other has a sky. Yeah, I saw the other has a sky. So from that perspective, I'm like, okay, they're not like underwater. But when it looked like it looked like it flipped in the water, which was confusing. So they showed it like kind of two different ways, but yeah. From in the dome thing, I was like, okay, it's like just another side of the island. But it just looked like the island flipped in the water, which is crazy. Good luck on your first game, Tindrapier. But every time I see the comics, I'm like, lore you can only get from the comics. People who put Fortnite lore videos together are working hard. They're working hard. Because there is so much extra work. They have to play the game, play the story, look for Easter eggs, look around the island, read comics. Oh my goodness. That's so much work to put a story together.
Left behind hundreds of years ago. You see, when you join the Imagined Order, you swear an oath and in return are granted immortality. Your family can also take this offer, but they need to live on the island, and Jones's family refused to do that, despite living on a dangerous homeworld. As a result, they weren't immortal and only had protection. They lived to ripe old ages as Jones was forced to watch his wife die. As his kids got older too, he told the Imagined Order that he wanted to go back and grow old, dying with his grandchildren that he barely knew. He was just too useful to Sloane by then, and she reminded him that if he quit, his family would lose the protection on their homeworld, so he stayed, for descendants he has never met. Now that is eating him up inside, and as he dwells on it, the mission must continue. They continue their search for the Zero Shard, eventually finding out that it's located on the Ice Moon.
That's so sad. His wife is like, no, I am not living on that island. But then you'll die, and I will. And just young Jones with his like 98-year-old wife holding her hand as she like takes her last breath. That's so sad, bro. That could be a story on its own. That's so sad, bro. That's so sad.
Perfect. They can crush two birds with one stone. Well, that's until they approach a frozen castle, something that has remained undisturbed for a very long time. As the crew walk inside, they find a room full of artifacts, ancient weapons frozen in pillars, and at the end of the corridor, the Ice King, who reveals his true intentions after all this time. Greetings, visitors. To reach my throne room alive is an achievement indeed. Uncounted ages ago, brave allies and I began collecting items of power, things and beings too dangerous to exist. My worst fears were realized when my staunchest comrade argued for using these items to alter realities to our liking. I was forced to freeze him, my other knights, and all we had acquired. So yes, this explains why the Ice King and Fire King were at war with each other, despite the fact that they used to share a round table. He wasn't a prisoner because of a small disagreement. The Ice King was protecting reality this entire time. The reason the Ice Moon is so uninhabitable is because it was designed that way, so he could be isolated for all time. Now that they're standing in his impenetrable fortress, their presence here proves they are too dangerous to remain free. But before they can be wiped out by the Ice King, a familiar face shows up.
We don't have much time to hit the collider. Clear a path. I'll get us there.
The hell?
Legend? I thought you were on the case.
Yeah, nothing we can't handle. Just as soon as we figure it out.
All enemy forces have been eliminated.
What is this?
Divert power to blade strike.
What the hell?
Hold on! Eject!
In the wreckage, the final battles commence. Dr. Sloane is the Seven's last obstacle before reaching the collider.
Sloane! You don't have to do this!
Always so dramatic. Any last words, Jones?
So with Sloane out of the picture, the Order and the Imagine look up, only to spot their father, Geno. He's here to personally face off against them and gets the Order in a chokehold. This is ridiculous. You're still my blood, just ask and I'll let you live. Send you somewhere safe. Little does he know, the Imagine isn't very interested. I have a better idea. We'll set you somewhere, father, everywhere. One last sacrifice, the Imagine decides that killing Geno is worth the cost. She gets her final wish, tackling him straight into the 0 point, and as it cycles through countless realities, they are both ripped apart, atoms scattered across the Omniverse.
Who is that?
The 0 point is focused on Geno. This is our best chance to find him.
Let's go!
Wait, I think that was The Rock again. That's 5. That's 5 lines.
Don't worry, I got you.
The heck?
Jones and the Foundation chase Geno, not expecting to see him fading away. Imagine has died in his arms and he's slowly passing too. Geno has one final message for the Foundation. You always believed my methods were abhorrent, that you knew a better way. Congratulations, and now you get to prove it. I genuinely hope you're right, because if you fail, it means the end of everything. I have to go now. I have to admit, it's good to lay my burden down after all this time. It'll be nice to rest. He fades into nothing. Geno is dead and the Imagined Order have been defeated. The Zero War is over and they won. Celebrations across the island spread like wildfire. Now the 0 point is finally liberated.
A
It
roller
blossoms,
coaster.
Nature takes over, but not everything is
looks
as
cool.
it seems. The orb starts sending out distress signals, and strange relics begin to appear around the island. The scientist is confused and can't understand why it's doing this. But it's all the work of a villain hiding in the shadows, a herald who is secretly using the 0 point to search across the Omniverse. And in her search, she finds the Nothing. This is a truly evil presence that gives her the dark power of Chrome, and it's about to be unleashed upon the island in the name of her old friends, the Last Reality.
What in the
Geno out of the
flubber?
way and the 7 caught off guard, it consumes everyone. The scientist, Origin, and a whole lot more are devoured,
Run.
turned into Chrome, while Paradigm is the sole survivor. The only thing she can do
Run.
is return to her homeworld, creating a plan that'll bring her friends back and save reality. Except Chrome is just too powerful.
Bruh. Once. Where the heck does hope come in? What the heck? Bruh, this is when you kind of got back into it. Bruh, I'm like, where's hope? I mean, this kind of looks like GG's for everybody. Oh, so this was just
Herald destroys the island to expose the 0 point, ready for the Last Reality to swoop in and take it. Lucky for us, in a surprising turn of events, the 0 point protects itself, destroying the mothership and fleeing. It's here that Paradigm comes into play. Using Zero Fusion, she's able to work with the orb and rebuild the island. Grabbing from countless realities to form a new world, everything is pieced back together. With the 7 turned to Chrome and the Imagined Order gone, it is time.
That's actually crazy. She actually fully, that was it. She destroyed the island. She completely destroyed the island. Wow. Wow. Everybody died. Everybody died. Okay, well, very Thanos of her.
For a fresh start.
Chapter 4.
On this new island, the scientist robot assistant, Amy, leaves us with a final message from Paradigm. She asks us to deliver a mysterious kinetic ore to the one who lives in this medieval castle. We do so, learning that its ruler is the Ageless, a young king who looks a little too familiar. The reality was brought to the island during Zero Fusion, and it becomes apparent who this actually is. Judging from the banners, his appearance, and obsession with perfection, we're looking at Geno. well, a snapshot of him. This is the ruler of the Oathbound who's left in Geno's place when he abandoned his homeworld. His right-hand man is Stellan the Rift Warden, who wishes to create a bridge to new realities. It wasn't possible with their medieval technology until they were brought to the island and discovered kinetic ore. With our refined version, they have unlocked the power to create pure portals. Yes, the origins of the Imagined Order are replaying themselves in real time, and the ore was a big help. But Stellan can't make this portal without another influence, a voice that guides him every step of the way. He kept this to himself, terrified of what he would do if he disobeyed their orders.
There is a being, a shapeless man. He watches us with dark purpose. If we do not finish the rift gate, the consequences will be terrible.
The final step in building this bridge to realities is deep in the forest, a bronze vault made to protect the 0 point. Of course, you need this power in order to make pure portals, and the voice in Stellan's head shows in the way. Except, it's quickly becoming obvious that this rift gate wasn't made to connect realities. It's a portal leading to the Shapeless Man. More importantly, this voice in Stellan's head has dark intentions, and his identity could already be known. Only one man has the overwhelming power to rebuild himself atom by atom, the real Geno. Turns out that after the Foundation and Jones left him to die, this wasn't the end of his story. And while he remains shapeless, he's directing his original kingdom to bring him back to the island. At least that's the intention. So Amy begins an investigation of her own as we send test subjects through the gate. They return disfigured or corrupted by darkness. It seems that everything Amy sends through the portal immediately goes searching for him, as he is her creator. But when they return, they give us an update on the fate of the Seven.
He's different now. They're all different now. As we speak, they changed. It scopes his existence anew. A fate.
The laughing emote is crazy.
You'll find him. Or will you get there in time to save him?
The Foundation once said that their armor keeps them alive in different realities, even the nothing beyond them. But after being devoured by Chrome, they're different now, slowly losing themselves to the darkness. Amy, as a robot, is programmed to protect the scientist and does everything in her power to save him. She prepares a rescue mission with a new body and goes through the Rift Gate. This will be the last time we see Amy. Instead, the portal begins to destabilize, bringing more realities to the island before breaking down and closing. The resulting earthquakes cause the ground to collapse on itself, revealing this abandoned world. The Shapeless Man's plan failed, but there's another villain around the corner, and he will change the storyline as we know it forever.
Ooh, that's a nice skin. I've never seen that skin before. I'm like trying to go back just a little bit. I've never seen this skin before. This is a cool skin. I like this one.
And he will change the storyline as we know it forever. Before that happens, we look deep into the jungle where our mind is blown. In the wreckage of a crush tank, Dr. Sloan emerges. She survived the Zero War and is confused by how she got here. However, it's not long before she gets her bearings and begins to investigate this strange ancient world. In the ruins, she finds markings that predict the future, along with an apparatus used by those who lived here thousands of years ago. She had no idea what happened to this society. They were an advanced civilization who used the stars to project the future, and yet they vanished without a trace. The markings seem to show an incoming eclipse that'll bring the end of the world. But with further research, Sloan realizes that this phenomenon isn't natural. How could the ancients predict this with the stars if it wasn't a natural event? There's only one explanation: it has already happened before. They're warning us that soon it'll happen again. So Sloan realizes the signal is all too familiar and calls an old friend for backup. And just like that, it's time for the eclipse to arrive. As the daylight is covered and the island is shrouded in darkness, Cato Thorne makes himself known. He's a vampire who's made a whole career collecting various artifacts from across reality. On the surface, he runs a successful hotel resort business, but in the shadows, Cato has a time machine. He uses this to travel through history, collecting relics and treasures for his own personal collection, such as Aura's skull, Midas' severed hand, and an ancient calendar which seemed to have ties to the Seven. Now, he's arrived in 2023 at the perfect opportunity for Sloan to pull off a daring heist. She's abandoned the Imagined Order, or what's left of it, realizing the error of her ways, or so we think, as she keeps to herself and focuses on this mysterious plan. Phase 1 of this operation involves stealing the time machine from under Cato Thorne's nose. She hires a group of professional thieves to pull off the heist of a century as they sneak into his mansion and get away without a problem. Before Cato can retaliate and feast on his prey, he has even bigger worries. As a time-traveling vampire, he has made a lot of enemies, especially hunters like Shimmerdusk, who have spent years chasing him. Now, without the time machine as an escape route, Cato is left defenseless, and she slays her arch nemesis once and for all. With Cato dead and the device in Sloan's hands, it's time for Phase 2. They experiment with the machine at a temporary headquarters, bringing artifacts from 2018 to the front yard. It functions as intended, and Sloane is confident that this will work. She just needs a helping hand from an old acquaintance, Agent Jones. He's laid low after the Zero War, but with Sloane's influence, she persuades him to go on her secret mission, to go to the past. His goal is to extract an unknown thing or person without changing the timeline. So they set the date, July 12, 2018, and Jones begins his journey. All that's there to guide him are audio logs left by Sloane, as she sends messages from the future back in time with a deadly reminder.
Everything you do will ripple forward to this very moment. You're back here for a reason. And it's not to change the future, by the way. Drop that fantasy right now. This is an extraction, and you're leading the way.
Well, despite this, Jones has started to alter the timeline. The Ice King and his prisoner never arrive in the island. The mech never gets constructed. And in order to complete his extraction, Jones ties the time machine to the scientist's rocket. The future, for the first time, is unknown.
This is the first time in countless lifetimes that I don't know what happens next. We're both heading off into the unknown. I guess this is goodbye for this me and that you. But we'll meet again. Reality's not done with us yet. Keep the campfires burning, Jones. Wherever and whenever you go.
Thank you guys so much for making it to the end. This has been something me and my team have followed for years.
That's the end? Or up to 2023? What? Is Hope completely new to 2024?
Six years and 5 chapters later, all leading to the grand finale of Fortnite. Every moment we've experienced has been confusing or puzzling, but finally we have tied together the Fortnite Chapter 5 storyline.
I'm ready.
This journey begins after the Big Bang event.
Yes.
We found ourselves on a brand new reforged island.
I'm understanding. She says, you're changing the future. Thank you, Jonesy. And then just suddenly it goes from chapter 4 to chapter 5, because this is the chapter I started. Was there no explanation in the middle? It was just the end of that. Chapter 5, just boop, boop. Chapter 5, just boop, boop. Like, I guess he changed a bunch of things. The future changed, and then the island was just chapter 5. All right, let me let him cook. Let me let him cook.
32 seasons, 6 years, and 5 chapters later, all leading to the grand finale of Fortnite. Every moment we've experienced has been confusing or puzzling.
A lot
but
of it's
finally,
been
we have tied
confusing.
together the Fortnite Chapter 5 storyline. This journey begins after the Big Bang event. We found ourselves on a brand new reforged island. We've entered a new era of Fortnite's story, and it's here where our band of characters start a fresh life. Of course, nothing's ever that simple. You see, Jones
Wait, did I miss the Big Bang event? Did we go over a Big Bang event? Did that happen? Because it was Chrome, then him going back. I feel like there's something I missed, because I'm like, the Big Bang event? I feel like that wasn't just covered in what we just watched, but I'm gonna keep going.
made a new lifelong friend, Hope, who was running a secret movement known as the Underground.
Where did
the
he
purpose
meet
of this
her?
group? To spy on a
Go back? What do you mean? It's 30 seconds. Go back to what? Just the 30 seconds? It, like, yeah, that was just so unclear. It didn't even seem like that. But okay. A little confusing. Yeah, I'd say that's a little confusing, but like, okay, alright. Okay, alright. It just seems like a little bit of a jump for me. It seems like a little bit of a jump. But then again, maybe I'll feel less confused when I watch the events. But that's my thought. I mean, I don't know what the Big Bang event is. I guess, like, that's the thing. Like, I don't even know what this is. And he did not say the words Big Bang event in the last video. So the only thing I could think is that the last video ended. This was a random event after maybe like this happened because Jonesy kept changing stuff, like he kept changing things.
A fresh life.
I mean, this is where I
nothing's
started
ever
Fortnite.
that simple. You see, Jones made a new lifelong friend, Hope, who was running a secret movement known as the Underground. The purpose of this group? To spy on a new threat to the island, a crime syndicate known as the Society. They're led by Hope's very own sister Valeria. While spying on them, the Underground realizes that Valeria is searching for a very powerful object, and this was more important than anyone realized.
Okay, see, I'm no longer confused. All this is more of stuff that I like know because this is where I started. So Hope is kind of random. Okay. I thought like there was gonna be lore leading up to Hope. Nah. Jonesy just found a homie named Hope, and homie named Hope got stuff going on, and we're on a new island. Okay. There is no extra lore to Hope at all. She just popped into chapter 5. No rap season lore. Okay. No rap lore. No rap season lore. Aww. Alright, that was Top 5 Gaming's update of the whole storyline of Fortnite. Gotta say, a lot of that was different, confusing, a lot interesting. I didn't realize Fortnite had so much lore and so much story going on. So that was kind of cool to see. I can't believe Fortnite has comic books. I feel like I gotta go see those comic books. That's fascinating so much. The comic books, the island flipping, the random rock cameo. Like that Chrome just killing everybody, and then it just goes into like what I played. It just seems so much more tame from everything else, but maybe it's because I played it so it doesn't feel as like crazy as like everything else. Like Chrome just literally killing everybody, like oh my god. But W video from Top 5 Gaming, good job on him putting together a whole bunch of stuff I would not have wanted to put together myself. So A, good job on him. That was crazy. That was lore. That was some lore.